Hello, welcome back to Word Processing Module 2, Slide 26. So in Word we have a feature called Show Hide Formatting Marks. And if you are on the Home tab in the paragraph group, it looks like a paragraph icon symbol. And when you click that, it shows you markers. So this symbol here that matches the one in the paragraph group, it shows that you actually pressed enter. So that means you pressed a hard enter. So you hit enter here after 2010. Then when you typed Microsoft certification, the raised dots are space bars. And then after certification space, you press the tab key and you type 2008 and it's at that right tab, so it's right aligned. And then you press enter once, twice, Bachelor of Arts, Business Administration, enter. So this shows you what you actually press, whether it's a paragraph hard return or it's the tab. And if there was a period at the end, it would be lower. So the raised period is a space bar, and if it was a lower period, it'd be the period at the end of a sentence. So this we'll use later on to make sure that we're deleting correct paragraph spacing or tabs. So that's under Show Hide Formatting Marks. To set tabs, you could do it right in the ruler, or another place to go, which is much easier and you seem to have more control over it, is to click Home, the Home tab. In the paragraph group, click the Dialog Box Launcher so this opens up. We've seen this before where you can set your left and right indents, the alignment, if you have a first line indent, before and after, double spacing. This is the preview. You press this button right here, Tabs, and this dialog box will appear. So right now the default tabs are every ½ inch, and you can leave that alone. You don't have to change it. In here you could set a specific place. Let's say you wanted it at 1 inch or you wanted it at 2.2. Whatever you wanted it, you would actually type that number in here at tab stop position. Do you want it to be an alignment tab left, center, right, decimal, or bar? And you want it to have leaders. Leaders are, you see usually in a table of contents where it has the topic, chapter topic, and then it has ... to the page number so that your eyes can flow across the screen. That's what leaders are. And then you would click set. And every time you set a tab, it would appear in this box so that you can see all the tabs you set. This is a place that you can also clear individual tabs or clear all of them. And when you're finished, you'll click OK. We'll be working with these tabs in the assignments for this module, so we'll actually have practice. This is just a preview. Find and replace is a great feature to find a word, and maybe you'd want to change it, or you wanted to find the occurrence of the same word over and over again and replace it all at once, because sometimes if you're looking for them yourself, you might miss one or two. So it's best to use find and replace. So first you could use find. Remember, it's the shortcut key is Control F, and then you would type in the box exactly what you're looking for, and it would show you all the occurrences of that particular word that you typed in. So if you typed in fiction, it's saying that there's 25 results of them, and then they're showing in bold every paragraph they appear in. You can use your down arrow, and it'll go to the first one, the second one, it'll show you all where they're located, and they also show you in your document highlighted in yellow. So you can see that there's 25 of the word fiction. And if you notice here, this is the preview. I click the down arrow, it's on result 2, and it's showing all of them in yellow. And when you're finished, you can just close out of it, X, out of the navigation. So to replace, you could also do it within the find, because you can extend the arrow where there's more options, and you can replace, or the shortcut Control H. And you would type in what you're looking for and what you want it replaced with. So instead of it spelled out, you wanted just the initials, and you would click find, or you could do replace, or you could do replace all of them. And if you find it, it'll show you here where it is, and at that point you can either replace it or replace all. And then if you do replace all, it'll tell you how many times it's been replaced in the document, 8 times, 6 times, how many times it's been replaced. And then you would close out of the Find and Replace dialog box. Spelling and grammar. Great feature to use within Microsoft Word, but I would not rely on it because it doesn't understand, like if you type something with the word, see the attached form, but you typed the attached from, because from is spelled correctly, it won't have it as a spelling error. You just use the wrong word. So those are errors that you have to find on your own. So the spelling and grammar, again, there's so many ways to open up the spelling and grammar. Right now it's in the Review tab, and it's over on the left corner. The newest versions of Microsoft Office, it's under Editor, and that will turn the spelling and grammar check window on the right-hand side pane open. And what will happen is it'll highlight the word in the document. It will show the word that it's selected and how it's misspelled, and then it usually has suggestions of what it should be. Generally, it's the first one, but not always. If it was a particular name, a unique name of something, a company that is spelled not according to Word's dictionary, you could ignore it once or ignore all of them. Or if it's a word that you want, that Word does not recognize, but you want it to, from now on, understand that it's spelled correctly, you could add it to Word's dictionary. And then when you're finished, you can click OK. Sometimes you may have delete once if a word is typed twice. So if you had the word was, it would come up twice and you could delete one of them. So here's some of the spelling errors where you could ignore it once. Ignores all, so that every time it will bypass that name because that's the way that it's spelled, or you can add it to your dictionary. Grammar errors, again, the word choice, so that you need to make sure that you're using the right form of the word there. They'll have their suggestions, and you can either accept it or ignore. So the red line usually indicates a misspelled word, and the blue underline indicates a grammatical error. And there's your samples here. Some people fix them right away by right-clicking, and that's up to you. So just be careful. Sometimes misused words are also known as contextual spelling errors. For example, if you use the phrase "Dear Mr. Theodore" at the beginning of the letter, dear would be contextually a spelling error. Dear is spelled correctly, but it is used incorrectly in the letter, so you would want to use the dear, D-E-A-R. And that's similar to the from and form, so you want to make sure you're using the right form of the word. So if you wanted to, instead of turning the spell check on from Review, you could right-click and you get a shortcut menu of words that they're assuming that's what you want, and you could do it from here. Again, with grammar errors also, you could also right-click and fix it from there. There's also options that you can adjust in the backstage area. So if you choose File and the drop-down menu on the left-hand side, you would choose Options, and a dialog box will appear on the left-hand side, and you would choose Proofing. And from here, you get a list of what type of spelling errors and grammar errors that are frequently used by Word, and you could accept them or change them. So you would choose File in the backstage area, Options, then select Proofing. And when correcting spelling errors in Microsoft Hours, usually ignore words in uppercase is selected, because usually uppercase letters are abbreviations or acronyms, so they are misspelled. They're not real words, so that's why that's checked off. Ignored words that contain numbers, internet and file addresses, so they ignore that. You want it to flag repeated words. So these are all choices that you can turn on or off by checking in them. Check as you type, mark grammar as you type, and frequently confused words. So you can just adjust these to what works best for you. Comments. If you are working on a document that you're sharing with someone or you're sending to be critiqued and checked out by someone else, you can have them write comments so that you have something selected and then something said regarding that particular word or phrase. So what you would do is select the text, whether it's a word or a phrase, and then you would go into review and you would click new comment. So that selected text you would type over and it comes automatically with your name. You would type the information, it even tells you when it was the date and time of when that comment was made. And you could address to hiring authoring instead. So meaning you should address it to Dear Mr. Smith. You should put someone's name rather than just who it may concern. So that's sharing with someone what you recommend, your suggestions. So and the person that receives this would get your comments, and you can go back and forth with comments. These are track changes here where they deleted the words your company. So they selected it, and there's track changes. And when you press delete, it puts a line through it, and then you typed what you think should be there. So everyone can see what was there and what the new change is. And then later on, you could accept the track changes, and what would happen is it would get rid of your company because it's deleted and replace it with quality furnishings, and it will no longer be in red or underlined. So this is a great feature to use when you're submitting assignments through Blackboard so that you can keep the original assignment and then see comments that are made on the original. If you wanted to delete a comment, you would just select it, and back in the review under the comments group, you would delete the comment, or you could do the down arrow and delete all of them. Again, to delete all of them, the down arrow, and you delete all comments in that document. So here's a sample of track changes. So someone selected it. Instead of having a comment, they just pressed delete and typed the person's name that you're addressing instead. This sales associate position, that's something added, that's new text. Here's with the is also new. Your company was a delete and then new text. And once you see this as someone's recommendations, you could accept all these changes and the deleted would go away and the Dear Mr. Powell would become the new text in the regular font, no underlining. To turn on the track changes, again, you would go into review and then choose track changes. And right, if it wasn't on, the gray box would not be gray in the background. When it's on, it's got the bright gray box on. You would keep it on all markup so that you can see the symbols. Again, this is the sample of what we were talking about. When it's new, it's highlighted in red. When it's new, when it's been deleted, in the new. And you can either accept these individually or reject or accept them all. So if you were to select track changes, you could also turn it off. And under accept, you could accept all of them at once. The different types of markup. There's simple markup. This shows the final version without any of the inline red or underlined text. It'll show up in the left margin to indicate where a change has been made. All markup, that shows the final version with inline markups. No markup takes everything off, and the original will go back to the way it looked when it first started without any of the changes. To hide the track changes, again, you would click the down arrow and you have your choices here, simple, all markup, no markup, or go back to your original. When you hide the track changes, it will show up here that the changes have been made if you wanted to see what they were.